Hello, today we're going to be talking about Earth's place in the universe and talking about our solar system or our sun system. Our solar system is made up of 8 planets that revolve around the sun. Starting with the planet closest to the sun, the planets in order are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. As you can see, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, the ones closest to the sun that are also the terrestrial planets or the rocky planets, are much smaller than the gas giants. So Jupiter and Saturn and Uranus and Neptune. Jupiter and Saturn are gas planets and they're ginormous. And Uranus and Neptune are what are called ice giants. The sun. Did you know that the sun is a star? The sun is made up of gases, and it appears really big from Earth because of the distance from Earth. The sun is also the center of our solar system, since all 8 planets revolve around the sun. So if you know Spanish, you know that solar is based on the word sol, which means sun. So it's a sun system where all of the planets are orbiting or circling around the sun. So how many days do you think it takes for the Earth to revolve all the way around the sun? Mercury. Mercury is the planet in our solar system that's closest to the sun. One interesting fact about Mercury, it's the smallest planet, and another is it has no moons, and it only takes 88 days to orbit the sun. Venus. Venus is the planet in our solar system that is the second closest to the sun. A few interesting facts about Venus. It's the second brightest natural object in our night sky that we can see. It has no moons, and it takes 225 days to orbit the sun. Another fact about Venus is it's the hottest planet because it's close to the sun, and it also has an atmosphere that's almost completely made out of carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas that traps the heat. Earth is the planet in our solar system that is third closest to the sun. A few interesting facts about Earth. The Earth's surface is 71% water, and so sometimes it's referred to as the blue planet. It revolves around the sun in an orbit, and it also rotates on its axis. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So you can see on a globe, the axis or the center point, if we were to put a pole right in between, and it would start at the North Pole and end at the South Pole, that's called the axis. It's kind of an imaginary line. So the Earth rotates on its axis, or it spins on its axis. And it is at an angle of 23.5 degrees, and each rotation of the axis takes 24 hours. So for example, if we're here in Watsonville, California, and we're rotating around on our axis, it would take 24 hours for us to get back to the same spot where we were. Mars is the 4th planet from the sun. A few interesting facts about Mars. Mars is where the word Martians comes from. Mars has 2 moons, and it's sometimes called the red planet. It takes 687 days for Mars to orbit the sun. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to pause the video, and I want you to take out those notes that have pictures of each planet. So it's got a drawing of the planet, and it has writing that's very similar to this one, and it has some fill in the blanks. I want you to fill in the information that we've already learned about Mercury, about Venus, about the Earth, and about Mars. And then when you're done with that, you're going to unpause the video and watch the rest. So Jupiter is the 5th planet from the sun. A few interesting facts about Jupiter. It's the largest planet in our solar system. Jupiter's great red spot, which is this section right here, is actually a huge storm that we can just see visibly in telescopes. Jupiter has 79 moons. Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. It's made up of gases and is one of the gas giants. It's most famous for its rings. Saturn has 82 moons, which is more than any other planet in our solar system. Uranus is the 7th planet from the sun, And it doesn't show this in the pictures, but Uranus also has rings like Saturn. It's just that their rings go up and down. So it looks a little bit different. And their rings are much smaller. So, about Uranus, some of the most interesting things: it is the coldest of all the planets in our solar system at negative 197 degrees Celsius. I believe that's about negative 500 degrees, but I'd have to look that up. So, maybe I will. It has two very thin rings, and it takes 84 years for Uranus to orbit the sun one time. So one orbit of the sun is a year. On Earth, it takes 365 days to orbit, and that's 1 year. It would take 84 years for Uranus to complete one trip around the sun. Neptune is the 8th planet from the sun. And a few interesting facts about Neptune: it's made up of gases, and it's the smallest of the gas giants. It has 5 thin rings and 14 moons. So there are 8 planets. And one funny way to remember the order of the planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, is thinking about the first letter in each planet. And if you remember this little rhyme, you'll be able to remember it. My very eager mother just served us noodles. So once again, my very eager mother just served us noodles. And here's how that could help you remember it. So if you're like, okay, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, oh, I don't remember what planet comes next, you could say, my very eager mother just served us noodles. My very eager mother, J, that's got to be Jupiter. So Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, just served Saturn, us, Uranus, and Neptune. And it's just an easy way to try to remember it. We have a few more facts here. So gravity on Earth. Gravity is a force that pulls objects to the center of the Earth. What kinds of things give evidence of gravity on Earth? So look at the pictures, and you're going to go ahead and answer that in the questions that follow. Does gravity on Earth have the same effect on every object? If you dropped a bowling ball and a feather from a ladder at the same time, which one do you think would hit the ground first? This page says discuss with your neighbor, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it when we have our small groups. The night sky. One of the first things to notice when looking at the night sky is the moon. The moon revolves or orbits around the Earth once every 28 days. The appearance of the moon changes in a predictable pattern during this cycle. So when we have small groups, you're going to talk about what causes the moon to be illuminated or lit up, and why does the shape of the moon appear to change each night. Here are the different phases of the moon. And one last thing to learn is about constellations. The moon isn't the only thing that we see in the night sky with a predictable pattern. Constellations are groups of stars that form specific patterns and have been named. Do you recognize this constellation? What's this constellation called? Constellations appear to move as the night progresses, but in reality, we're the ones that are moving. We're rotating and revolving. So again, we're revolving on our axis, we're spinning on our axis, and then we're rotating around the sun. And that's what makes it look like the night sky is moving and the stars are moving across the sky as the night goes on. Since we revolve around the sun through the year, different constellations are visible at different times of the year, since we're moving to different locations in the sky. So I'm going to skip this part down here, and that's the end of the video. Thank you.